Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss everything about React context, how to create it, how to use it, and what are the benefits. So without wasting any time, let's dive in. Before understanding React context, let's understand a problem. So consider we have a component A, B, which is a child of app component. Now component B wants to pass some data to A. So what would be your approach? The first instinct would be create a callback function from app component and pass as a props to B. Then B will pass the data to app component and app component can again pass the same data as a props to component A. So this would be our first approach, which is completely fine for just one level of component. Now consider this scenario where we have app and then we have 3-4 level of nesting, and here also we have 2 level of nesting. Now D wants to pass some data to G. How we can pass that? So here if we take the first approach, then it is going to be a big problem. Like we have to pass callback to multiple levels, then receive the same data, then pass to the other side of the tree. So to solve this issue, React has provided React context. So this problem what I have discussed known as prop drilling problem. Like we have to pass the data from multiple levels to get to a target component. Even though intermediate components does not need those value, we have to pass the data, which is not good. So this entire problem we called as a prop drilling problem. So to solve this, we have React context. So let's head over to VS Code and see how we can create context, and I will try to mimic this entire component tree, and then we will see how we can pass data around. So I already have created component A, B, D, E, G. So basically what I have done, I have created B, D, A, E, G and app component, and you can see it here. So we have a component A, E and G, and here on the right side we have B and D. Now let's start by creating component and then we will see how we can pass data around. So for that, let me create here, I'm calling this as a app context. Now inside this, what we have to do? We have to create our context. So let's say app context equal to, we have to use a function called create context. Now what it does, it takes a default value, but before that we need to provide the types. So for that I'm going to create interface and let's call as app context. Then what we can do, we can define something. Let's say for example here I want to give a title and that would be of type string, and then what I want to do, I want to give a callback function so that we can change the value from anywhere. So here I will create set title and then it is a callback, it is a function which returns nothing, but then it will take something called title as input. Now this is my interface type. So what I can do, I can pass as app context. So this is my type. Now what I can do, I can create a normal component. So let me do export const and let's say app context provider. After that what I can do, I can return the children. So first what I have to do, I have to use this app context and then there is a provider component. Inside this we have to pass, this provider component takes a prop called value, and inside that I'm going to pass some values. Before that, let's pass it here children. Now children, where we will get from here props. So let's go to props, and I think I need to create props for my component as well. So let's create it here, interface app provider, app provider. Let's call it as a app provider, and then this will have a property called children, and this is of type React.React node. Now what we can do, we can use it here, app context provider, and then here we can use just, let's destructure it here. So here we will get a children and then we can use it here. Now let me format for now. The next thing would be to pass here value. Now how to pass the value? Here we have this something called title we want to pass, and here I can create a state variable. Let's call it as use state, and let's take as a string an initial value. Let's take full stack universe. Here we will get two things. One will get title and then we can get set title function, and we can pass those here as well, right? So now if you see, our context is ready where we have title which we are passing, and we are passing a function as well. That is what our interface was. Now I will create a convenient hook to use this. So I can use export const and let's call this at use app context. This is a function. What it does, it uses use context, and then we can pass the context here itself. So let's say app context. Now how to use this React context provider? So what we have to do, we have to wrap our root component with this. So I'm going to main.tsx file, and then here I am using my app context provider. Till now we have created our app context and we have defined the interface of that app context, and after that we have used the provider component from the app context, and then we are passing all the children within that, and we are passing two values. One is title and then setter function to update that title. So how we can use it? So we have already created this utility hook that we can use. So let's go to component D, and here we will try to use the created hook, which is use app context. Now this use app context is going to give me title, and I can just append it after here. Let me use title, and now if I go to browser, you will be able to see this full stack universe. Now let's go to the G component. From the G component we will try to update this value. So I'll go here into G component, and here again I will import the same use app context, and this time I will use set title. Now I have already created a button and the text is change title. So here I am going to use onClick method, and inside that what I will do, I will try to use the set title method by passing title, let's call it, or update it to full stack. Now I have saved it. Now the moment I click here, it will change into our D component as well. So as you can see here, it is changing the string. So this is how you can create a context, and you can pass any data anywhere into your React component. So it is not required to pass the data through each of those components, like follow the nesting hierarchy. You can just pass the data by using the React context. But there is some limitations to it. If you are trying to use for everything React context, then your application is going to be slow. So it is ideal to just use context for those values which are not changing too frequently. For example, theming, current user, like authentication state. So those kind of things you can use with React context. But let's say you have to pass the data in your application and it is changing very frequently, then you can consider Redux or any state management library. That's all for this video. I hope you found this video helpful. If it does, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you into the next one.